Then army kills terrorists, arrest 3 suspects in Kaduna. That story is on page 4 of the Punch newspaper. Then let me move to the Blueprint newspaper. Let me start with the headline story. Buhari to APC governors, Nigerians, I won't interfere in 2023 election. That story is on page 6 of the Blueprint newspaper. Then, still on the Blueprint newspaper, federal government begins ranching in 10 frontline Katsina communities. That story is on page 7 of the Blueprint newspaper. Then, Nigeria will stop importing fuel June next year, Mele Kyari. Then, Buhari salute Bishop Kuka at 70. The story is on page 7 of the Blueprint newspaper. And from there, I move to the Point newspaper. Yeah. The headline is here. Trouble in Enugu APC. Namani Onyama Okechukwu orders rebel against chairman. That story is on page 2 of the Point newspaper. Then I also have this story here. Buhari reiterates commitment to credible polls in 2023. That story is in the Point newspaper. Then this one is about Ekweremadu. Kidney donor asks court to stop Ekweremadu's access to his biodata. Yeah. There is also a fuel-related story here where NNPC boss is still promising Nigeria that fuel importation will stop in 2023. So I from there move to the Business Day newspaper. Yeah. To curb oil theft, NNPC adopts Saudi Aramco's model. And what is the model about? You'll find it out in the Business Day newspaper. Yeah, Nigerians want politicians to shun deceit ahead of campaigns. That story is also in Business Day newspaper. Then another story. PEA shareholder funds it 211.27 billion naira after recapitalization. Yeah. Explainer how CBN violates own law to finance federal government. That story is on page 21 of Business Day newspaper. Then I from there move to the New Telegraph newspaper. On the headline story on the paper read thus: Buhari, I won't allow politicians intimidate Nigerians with personal resources. That story is on page 2 of the New Telegraph newspaper. Yeah. There's another story here. Federal government fears airlines imminent collapse over 19 billion naira debt. That story is on page 5 of the New Telegraph newspaper. Q2 2022, Nigeria's electricity sector records 15.4 billion naira loss. That story is located on page 5 of the New Telegraph newspaper. Then another story here. AFDB portfolios in Nigeria gross $4.5 billion in 53 operations. That story is on page 2 of the New Telegraph newspaper. Then, International Day of the Disappeared. 14,000 children still missing in Nigeria. That is from ICRC, and the story is on the page 27 of the Telegraph newspaper. Then, alleged drug trafficking. Again, court dismisses Kyari's fresh bail application. Yeah. Then I have another story here. PDP, Mimiko Olafeso may emerge as Ayu's replacement. That story is on page 27 of the New Telegraph. Then I think, then let me see these stories on this day. In major crowdfunding, Nigerians in diaspora move to raise $150 million, 100 billion naira for Obi's campaign. Yeah. Then I have another story here. Ex-Soviet Union President Gorbachev dies at 91. That story is on page 20. Then I have another story here. Article, I consider national unity government, if elected, to douse tension, unite Nigerians. That is coming from Atiku Abubakar. Then another story here. Buhari, I not allow politicians intimidate Nigerians with personal resources. Same story we've read on some other papers. But this one is contained on page 46 of this day newspaper. Then let me move to the Daily Trust newspaper. Daily Trust with the headline. Well, the headline is about the stoppage of importation of oil by 2023. That is the headline. Then, but I have other stories here. 115 killed, 73,379 displaced as floods hit 22 states. FCT. That story is on Daily Trust newspaper. Then I have this story also. London Palace, diplomats, others knock Wike, Tinubu, Atiku, others. That story is on page 21 of the Daily Trust. Then I have another story here. Many trapped, 4 rescued as building collapses at Kano Market. That story is it's in the Daily Trust newspaper. Then there's another story here concerning ASU strike. We need to act fast on ASU strike. That is coming from Vice President Yemi Osinbajo. Then I have another story here. 2023, Buhari meets governors, says Nigerians will appreciate APC in 6 months. That is on the Daily Trust newspaper. So let me move to the Daily Times. The Nigeria, let me start with the headline before I begin to read other stories. Nigeria to head fuel importation mid-year. Next, that is NNPC boss. Then, federal government declares war on funders, all thieves. That story is in the Daily Times newspaper. If you're interested in it, you check it out. What federal government must do to end strike? That is coming from ASU. The story is in the Daily Times newspaper for those of you that are interested. Why I don't interfere in political process, Buhari. You can also find the story in the Daily Times. Yes. Another story here. Domestic airlines owe NCAA 19 billion naira, which is equal to $7.8 million. Yeah. Now, another story here, still on the Daily Times. Appeal Court dashes Igboho's hope on 20 billion naira judgment against DSS. Yeah. Then I have this story on flooding. Over 500,000 Nigerians affected by floods in 8 months. Buhari. That story is in the Daily Times. You can check it out. Yeah. Let me quickly see some other stories here. Maybe you can go over some of them before we round it up today. Yeah. The story is here on in Nigerian Tribune. Over 25,000 persons missing in Nigeria, that is from Red Cross. The International Committee of the Red Cross says more than 25,000 persons are missing in Nigeria as a result of the ongoing insurgency in the northeast region of the country. The head of the delegation of the ICRC, Ian Bonzo, said this is in addition to the over 2,000 cases of missing persons the organization registered after January 2021. Yeah. Okay. Stolen crude oil stored in churches, mosques. That is from NNPC Group Managing Director. The Chief Executive Officer of Nigeria National Petroleum Corporation, our company limited, Mele Kyari, disclosed that crude oil theft had become a widespread phenomenon involving all strata of the society, including religious, community leaders, and government officials. He said the company has discovered that stolen products were housed in churches and mosques with the knowledge of all members of the society where the incident occurred. Yeah. So he spoke at the ministerial media briefing organized by the Presidential Communication Team at the Presidential Villa, Abuja, where he also said the entire network of the pipelines for petroleum product distribution in the country have been shut down as a result of the activities of founders. So now let's quickly see this story before we round it up. 2023, Buhari meets APC governor, says I allow Nigerians to vote who they want. President Muhammadu Buhari has restated why his administration does not interfere in elections, telling governors of the All Progressives Congress in a meeting that he will allow Nigerians to vote whoever they want. Speaking at the meeting which took place in his office at the Presidential Villa, Abuja, President Buhari assured that governing party will continue to bequeath strong political institutions that reflect their choices through non-interference in election, citing outcome of polls in Ekiti, Anambra, or Osun State as indicators. Yeah. Let's quickly see this one. Nigerians owe you debt of gratitude, Tinubu tells Kuka. The All Progressive Congress presidential candidate, Senator Bola Tinubu, has sent a special goodwill message to Catholic Bishop of Sokoto Diocese, Bishop Matthew Hassan Kuka, on the occasion of his 78th birthday celebration. In a letter he personally signed and made available to newsmen in Abuja, the APC presidential candidate described Kuka as a voice of conscience in the country. He acknowledged Kuka's contribution to national development and progress in over 4 decades, saying Kuka's homilies as a cleric, as well as contributions as a public intellectual, have enriched the national discourse and highlighted the role of morality in the public space. Yeah. That is how far we will be able to go on the program for today. Join my colleagues tomorrow on another edition of Newspapers Today. Until tomorrow, I am Kayode Adebayo. Bye-bye.